How to choose a roof. 5 mistakes that will ruin your house. Imagine an ideal evening in a warm, cozy house when bad weather rages outside the window and drops of pouring rain only rhythmically tap on the surface without disturbing your peace. Your roof is that very invisible shield that daily takes the blows of the elements, protecting the structure of the building and creating an atmosphere of safety for the whole family. The choice of the right coating and compliance with installation technologies determine whether your life will turn into an endless struggle with leaks or become the embodiment of comfort for many decades. In modern construction, the roof has ceased to be just a protective element, turning into a complex engineering structure requiring an expert approach and a deep understanding of physical processes. Today we will figure out how not to make fatal mistakes when choosing materials and turn the process of roofing into a successful investment in the future of your home. Choosing a roofing material is the first and most responsible step, which largely determines the further architectural fate of the house. In the modern market, a huge variety of options is presented, each of which possesses unique aesthetic and operational characteristics. Metal tiles remain one of the most popular solutions thanks to their relative lightness, wide color palette, and accessibility for most developers. Pay attention to the thickness of the metal sheet as well as the density of the zinc coating. A low zinc content will lead to premature corrosion at the cut points and holes for self-tapping screws, which will shorten the service life of your roof to 10 or 15 years instead of the promised 50. In addition, a metal roof requires a careful approach to sound insulation, otherwise every rain will resemble a drum roll echoing throughout the house. Flexible bitumen shingles offer a completely different approach to design and functionality, allowing the implementation of the most complex geometric shapes with a minimum amount of waste. This material consists of fiberglass impregnated with modified bitumen and covered with stone chips, which ensures excellent tightness and almost complete noiselessness. It is important to remember that for the installation of a soft roof, a solid base of moisture-resistant plywood or oriented strand boards is required, which somewhat increases the total cost of the structure. On the other hand, such a roof is not afraid of corrosion, does not accumulate static electricity, and possesses excellent repairability, allowing, if necessary, to replace only a damaged fragment without dismantling the entire plane. When choosing soft shingles, preference should be given to multi-layer options as they create a three-dimensional visual effect and possess increased mechanical strength. For connoisseurs of classics and durability, the ideal choice remains natural ceramic tiles, which are capable of serving for more than 100 years while maintaining their original appearance. The heavy weight of this material is both its advantage and a complexity as it requires a reinforced rafter system and professional calculation of loads. Ceramics possess excellent thermal inertia, thanks to which the under-roof space cools down more slowly in winter and does not overheat in the summer heat. However, the cost of the material and the complexity of its laying makes such a roof a choice for the premium construction segment, where quality and status come first. If your budget is limited, but you strive for the aesthetics of natural materials, it is worth paying attention to composite tiles, combining the strength of steel and the nobility of stone dusting. When the choice of material is made, a critically important stage of forming the so-called roofing pie begins, on the correctness of which the durability of the entire rafter system depends. The basis of any warm attic or mansard is high-quality vapor barrier, which is installed from the side of the living space. Many make the mistake of using cheap polyethylene films or carelessly taping the joints, which leads to the penetration of moist air from the house into the insulation. Moisture accumulated in the layer of mineral wool sharply reduces its thermal insulation properties and provokes the rotting of wooden structures, which can lead to the need for major repairs in as little as 5 years. The use of specialized connecting tapes and careful sealing of all junctions to walls and pipes are mandatory conditions for creating a reliable barrier against steam. The next layer in our engineering pie is the insulation, the thickness of which for most regions should be at least 8 or even 10 inches, 200 or 250 millimeters. The use of stone wool slabs allows achieving the optimal combination of thermal insulation, fire safety, and environmental friendliness. When laying the insulation, it is necessary to ensure that the slabs lie tightly without the formation of gaps and cold bridges, which can negate all efforts for energy saving. It is recommended to lay the material in several layers with staggered joints to overlap the seams of the previous row. This guarantees the absence of drafts and the preservation of a stable temperature inside the house, even in the most severe frosts, significantly reducing your heating costs in the long term. Above the insulation, a super-diffusion membrane must be located, which performs the role of external waterproofing and wind protection. Its unique feature lies in the ability to release residual moisture from the insulation to the outside while not letting water from possible leaks or condensation inside. It is extremely important not to mix up the sides during the installation of the membrane, as incorrect installation will turn it into an insurmountable obstacle for the exit of steam, which will lead to the wetting of the entire structure. To ensure effective moisture removal, it is necessary to provide a ventilation gap between the membrane and the roofing covering, which is created using a counterbatten. This gap must have a free air inlet at the eaves and an unhindered outlet at the ridge, forming a natural draft for drying the underroof space. One of the most frequent and dangerous mistakes during installation is ignoring ventilation holes or their accidental blockage by finishing elements. Without constant air movement under the roof, condensation begins to accumulate, which in the winter period turns into frost, and when it warms up, begins to drip onto the ceiling of living rooms. Many homeowners mistakenly take this phenomenon for a roof leak, although in fact the problem lies in the violation of the physics of air exchange. Properly designed ventilation not only protects the wood from rotting, but also significantly reduces the temperature in the attic in the summer months, making staying there more comfortable without using an air conditioner. The use of special aerators and perforated soffits allows creating a reliable system that works autonomously throughout the year. The rafter system represents the skeleton of your roof, and the strictest requirements are placed on its geometry. All wooden elements must be pre-treated with fire and bioprotective compounds to exclude the risk of fire and damage by insects or fungus. The use of wood with natural moisture often leads to the deformation of the roof after it dries, so experts strongly recommend using only kiln-dried lumber. The slightest deviation in the rafter pitch or unevenness of the laving plane will become noticeable immediately after laying the finish coating, especially if you chose materials with a clear geometric shape, such as metal tiles. A perfectly flat base guarantees the absence of unnecessary stresses in the fastening nodes and ensures a harmonious appearance of the entire structure. Special attention should be paid to the junctions of the roof to chimneys, ventilation shafts, and dormer windows, as these very places are the most vulnerable to leaks. The use of low-quality sealants or neglect of special flashings often leads to sad consequences already in the first year of operation. Professionals always use a double protection circuit in such zones, combining mechanical fastening of metal strips with elastic butyl rubber tapes. One should not forget about the snow retention system, which prevents the avalanche-like sliding of snow from the roof, protecting the gutter system, parked cars, and most importantly, the life and health of passersby. A correctly calculated number and competent placement of snow guards allow distributing the snow load evenly, not allowing critical pressure on individual sections of the rafters. The gutter system is the final chord in the construction of the roof, and its effectiveness directly affects the preservation of the facade and foundation of the house. Plastic gutters attract with their quietness and ease of installation. However, metal options with a polymer coating possess much greater strength and resistance to thermal expansion. It is important to correctly calculate the diameter of the gutters and pipes depending on the area of the slopes, so that the system can cope even with intense downpours. The slope of the gutter should be 1/8 or 3/16 inches, 3 or 5 millimeters, for every linear meter, ensuring a fast drainage of water to the outlets. Regular cleaning of gutters from fallen leaves and debris is a mandatory ritual that will avoid overflows and the formation of ice plugs in the winter period. Many developers, in order to save money, decide to perform roofing work independently or involve crews with a dubious reputation, which often turns into colossal costs for reworking. The roof does not forgive amateurism, as every mistake hidden under a layer of beautiful coating will slowly destroy your home from the inside. Professional installation implies the presence of specialized tools, deep knowledge in the field of building physics, and strict compliance with the recommendations of material manufacturers. Saving on small things, such as high-quality self-tapping screws with sealing gaskets made of ethylene propylene diene monomer, or the correct tape for vapor barrier, ultimately leads to a loss of tightness and damage to expensive interior finishing. Remember that a reliable roof is the result of a balance between quality materials, a competent project, and flawless execution of every detail. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that the process of choosing and installing a roof requires patience and attention to details from the homeowner, which at first glance may seem insignificant. Your roof is a long-term investment that provides not only protection from rain and snow, but also forms the unique look of your home, emphasizing its architectural style. Study modern technologies, consult with proven experts, and do not be afraid to ask questions to builders at every stage of the work. Only a deep understanding of all processes will allow you to create a home that will delight with its reliability and comfort for many generations of your family. Let your new roof become a symbol of strength and prosperity, and every day spent under it be filled with joy and a sense of absolute security from any of life's storms.